Hey, 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 it is Smooth Tim, and thank you for dropping in on another Thursday or Wednesday evening, rather, hump day on Tim's Tidbits. And tonight I have with me a special guest, Phantom Frost, Don Mitchell. How you doing, Don?
Just a couple technical difficulties. I'll be working out while we're working on this, but I'm still good.
Got to keep yourself ramped up. Yeah, yeah, when it starts blinking, that is not good. Hey, but anyhow, I'd like to thank everybody for dropping in with us again and being a part of our show. And we could actually just start right off at the top, and that is, if you have not noticed that you probably can't get your hands on a decently priced concert ticket, depending upon who it may or may not be. And also, it's transitioning over into the movie theaters. Maybe if you it's cheaper to go during the week instead of a weekend. But let's take a real quick look at this video that explains a little bit about what's going on. And apparently, there's money to be made, Don, and that's why they're doing it.
From movie
Oh, yeah.
theaters to the links and even bowling alleys, the cost of a family outing at certain times is surging. It's a practice industry insiders call dynamic pricing, where some businesses charge customers at least 20 to 35% more based on demand, location, even time of day. Similar to what caused a swift rift between Ticketmaster and Taylor Swift fans.
But oh my gosh, we spent $899 per ticket. Dynamic pricing is the worst.
But those fluctuating prices are now going beyond concert tickets and theme parks, flooding everyday activities, as reported by the Wall Street Journal, with some bowling alleys striking at people's pocketbooks. Jolene Theory wanted to treat her family, but the price of one lane for her party of 8, $500, left her jaw in a 7-10 split.
At the end of the day, bowling is not an activity that we'll keep on our agenda anymore.
At Miami Lakes Golf Club, a prime weekend tee time of $140 could be twice the price of teeing off on a weekday afternoon. Great for someone like David Plunkett. How does it work to your benefit?
Fortunately, I'm not a guy who has to golf at a certain time. I work in a business where I'm flexible.
Correct.
The Miami Lakes golf director says they borrowed the strategy from their hotel business next door.
Our revenue from golf rounds alone increased by over 47%.
Meanwhile, movie theater chain AMC is double dipping on dynamic pricing, charging more for the evening shows than the matinees, which are 30% cheaper, and in some cities, they also charge extra for seats with a preferred sight line. For Marco and Ariana Garcia, they've done father-daughter movie dates since she was a kid.
I prefer coming at night instead, but I guess the practicality of it, it's better to come today.
Experts say more businesses are tracking consumer spending habits to determine when or even what to charge more for.
And that's craziness. And you see it all
I
the time.
can't even believe $500 to go bowling. I mean, that has happened before. Like, airlines used to do it all the time. Like, if you're booking a ticket and you say, okay, I'm here. Well, there are ways around that by booking a ticket somewhere else and then flying multiple points instead of doing it straight to it. But they've dynamically, I won't say they're pricing us out of the market. I think eventually people are going to find a different way. There's going to be a different way to do it. But I mean, it all boils down to that they want our money and they have the activities we want to do.
And they have a way to control who goes and how much they're going to pay. Well, yeah, like I say,
Yeah,
the airlines have been doing
unfortunately-
that for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a practice from airlines doing it, but I've never heard about like bowling alleys.
Bowling alleys, movie theaters.
I mean, concert tickets I kind of understand, but I still don't think it's fair. I mean, if you're in a city where it used to be, and I even looked this up for Taylor Swift, which was really weird because I had a friend that was looking for tickets online. And I was like, well, they can't be that much. Maybe she just doesn't have like $100. I went in there and found one for like $900 for a ticket. I'm like, and I think it was up in the nosebleeds, and it was here in the Detroit area.
Yeah, there is no way.
That's ridiculous.
There is no way. Yeah.
And my social anxiety of going to crowded places, just like, well, I can't afford to go now.
See, the thing is when you look at dynamic pricing, is if you can get like the first, let's say, 100 tickets
Hmm.
before the uh, system realizes that there's a surge on this particular item, you could probably get it at a better price because that's
Yeah.
what happens. Once that
But you know
surge
what's going to
happens,
happen? I mean, that has happened with the recent video game consoles that came out, and then they had they had robots, or well, let's say bots, AI bots that would go and buy these things from the retailers, online, and then resell them. So, I mean, I can understand both sides of, wanting to get the money as much as possible, but I'm like, like you can't do some of the things now. You're gonna have to like say, okay, once a year I might go to a concert, whenever it might have been 4 to 5 times a year. And then if you're going to a concert and it's like out of town, you're going to be buying a hotel room, you're going to be buying food in that area, you're going to be buying, transportation and stuff. So you're basically saying, well, I can only do one of those concerts this year, and it's going to cost an arm and a leg.
I could do
You're not
none of
probably
those
at least
concerts
2
this year.
years.
Yeah,
I mean, I would expect if a concert ticket costs like $500, that I'd probably get to meet the star that had it. But that's not the case. That's just a regular seat.
wouldn't you believe so? Yeah, I mean, yeah, long gone are the days of the $10 concert ticket.
Oh yeah, I mean I did see that there was a company that was doing $25 tickets,
Hmm.
and I think it was maybe B-list artists, like say artists that were in the 90s or 2000s that had hits, and the summer concert series by Prometica, or is it Prometica down
Promedica,
here,
yeah,
right over on
on the river.
where I
Yeah.
live. Last year they had a lot of concerts, and I was working, unfortunately, so I couldn't go see them. But one of them was Parliament Funkadelic, and I thought that would have been awesome to see. And and they still do that, but I'm imagining that the reason those are affordable is because ProMedica obviously is paying the artists
Subsidizing
to
that.
be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're cutting out the middleman, which is Ticketmaster and stuff like that, which controls the Huntington Center that I live next to as well. I've been wanting to go to concerts there, but they're just too expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That definitely. That's the one thing
I
I
mean,
don't like is when it started getting automated. Instead of
mhm,
not the date myself, I don't know where you was at. If you used to go into let's say a Boogie Records, and you would get your concert ticket, and every concert
right.
ticket was $20, and it was, what did they call it, festival seating. So you just kind of
Oh
like
yeah,
got there, and
general admission.
yeah.
Yeah,
And but now, I mean, it's all about that ching ching, and front rows so
yeah.
much, and like they showed that little viewing area. If you got that print and it's gonna be ching ching, it's like that's all you care about.
Well, I mean, their job is to make money, but unfortunately, the job to make money is not getting to the artists. Like the artists will get their money, which they should get.
Up front.
But some of the concert tickets, like for instance, Kiss did a farewell tour. This is like 20 years ago.
Which one? Which
Yeah,
one?
I know, right? But that's the point. They did a farewell tour, and they had one at the Detroit. They were doing it on the river, and I'm like, that'd been really cool. Tickets were $200, and I believe I want to say that was 2000, somewhere around there that we're gonna do. But then, of course, they just continued on, and now they're doing their final farewell tour. So, I mean, their business is to make money. But the problem is, it's the middlemen that are in there that run these venues like Huntington Center, and I don't know if the Glass City
Mm.
place has one, but there's other ones around there. They're all controlled and they have contracts. There's hotly debated whether it's fairer to the consumers or not. I mean, where's that money going? It's not necessarily going to the artist. It's going maybe 25% of the artist, and
Promoters,
the rest of
venue,
it's going to the vendor,
yeah,
or
promoters,
not
vendors,
even
yeah.
the stadium. Like they get proceeds from concessions, but the stadium doesn't get all that money either. It's the people that are selling the tickets.
Yeah, look at this, and they get skim off of parking.
Oh yeah, yeah. Parking's another issue
You
around
know,
here too. One of
but
those events happen, I have a hard time finding a place to park.
You are you in that riverfront area?
Yeah, I'm like right next door to the Huntington Center. So I mean, then they rent. I won't say they rent. They use the extra space.
I know what you're
in
talking
our
about.
Garage
Underneath
they,
there.
Yeah. So I mean, there's an event about at least 3 to 4 times a week. So I when I was working my job, I would miss all of that. But then when you go to summer and you're doing the weekends and stuff, you go in there, you might find a spot, you might not. I don't know. I haven't actually happened where I couldn't find a spot, but I was pretty upset that I had to park to the top or, on the street or something like that.
But I miss those days a lot myself. Because I've seen Kiss down at the sports arena. I mean, 2-3 times.
Oh, sports arena.
And I mean, it was like $8-10 a ticket to go see Kiss.
Oh yeah. But, yeah, the sports arena. I remember that place too. I just went to the hockey games though, but I never went to any concert. But yes, my favorite group actually played there and put. They mentioned Toledo in their song twice because of that sports arena.
Because of the sports
where
pit.
It was so hot in there. They thought they were going to die.
Hotter than hell.
So they put it in a song. But it's a good song, and it actually got double the airplay when it came out. But anyway, I understand the whole fact that they want to make money, but I think it's getting ludicrous. Insane.
Anyhow, hey, did you see? Let's move on here. What do we got? Oh yeah, did you hear or see? I don't know if you had a chance to look at the fake photo that popped up. That was I believe on Monday.
No, I did not. This is the first I've heard of it.
This fake photo pops up of a bomb going off at the Pentagon, and they did it all with AI.
This morning, a new look at the potential impact of AI-generated images after a fake picture appeared to rattle Wall Street.
A simple AI-generated fake image sparked about a $100 billion stock market move.
Yesterday, numerous Twitter accounts shared this fake image showing smoke billowing near a white building, leading some to believe an explosion occurred near the Pentagon when in fact no such incident took place. While ABC News has not determined the source, the image contains the hallmarks of being made with artificial intelligence.
We talk all the time about social media platforms. Every story is flattened. You can't tell where it comes from or who is producing it. This is a perfect case in point.
The image was first posted on Twitter at 8:42 a.m. At 10:03, a Russian state-controlled news outlet tweeted the image to its millions of followers. The stock market took a dip over the next several minutes until 10:09, when authorities made it clear there was no explosion. Experts have warned of hyper-realistic fake images deceiving people online as the accessibility of AI-powered tools grows.
This is only the smallest effect that can only grow. So what we're seeing today is only a small example of what is to come as this grows in complexity.
Industry leaders have pointed to AI's ability to solve problems quickly, and the technology has already contributed to medical research. But last week, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, urged lawmakers to act quickly to regulate artificial intelligence.
My worst fears are that we, the field, the technology, the industry, cause significant harm to the world.
Yeah, I can see them ramifications to be coming from those. I mean, I think AI is just like the internet, a double-edged sword.
Oh yeah, I think it's cool, and what it
can
does,
do some really amazing things.
But when you look at what it can do as far as generating images like that, and you've seen what it can do in movies.
Oh yeah,
you're blown away when you're in the middle of a fight in Star Wars, and it's like how do they do this?
I know, right? I remember from the original Star Wars, they, you could kind of tell at that time, but you're still flabbergasted when you're young, to see it. Now it's to the point where it's almost indistinguishable unless somebody tells you it's been generated. You're like, how did they do that?
Well, and you look at their filming in that 4K or whatever the heck it is. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
So,
but I can see it. It's just like the gun issue. Guns can be used for good. Guns can be used for bad. AI can be the same way. Depends on who has their hands on it, what they plan to do with it.
Yeah, very, very true. But you may find yourself sometime accepting an Oscar. You never know.
know, right?
I got myself up there, you know, I
an
win.
Oscar that I peel away and start eating the chocolate underneath. But I've actually done several album covers for my music through AI, and I think it's really good to do stuff like that. It's cheap, it's efficient. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come out what you want, but sometimes it can come out with something that you never even thought about.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Using it for bad too.
Like Photoshop, I know is doing that now. So.
Oh yeah, and I've got Photoshop. I've heard that they're adding that in there, and I haven't yet actually messed with it yet.
I don't know if they've released it or is it in there. I don't know.
It's probably in beta, I would imagine, because I just seen the article, and usually that means it's in beta. Like if you see the article, they do kind of a press release, or I would say a release of
the beta version
stuff. Yeah, but
like you and I, it's kind of almost like an open
it.
source. Go ahead and play around with it. Let us know what you think. Yeah,
I've got it. I haven't actually used Photoshop in probably a couple months, but and I kind of wonder if they're going to move that into Premiere too and use some of that, which could be interesting.
Well, you wonder how all that's going to come into play because what is the other one? That GT Chat, the one that came up with the they wrote a thesis and it absolutely it passed the bar.
Chat GTP.
Yeah, Chat GDP. And you wonder how is all that going to interact? You know, it's going to be interesting to see. You know,
well, I think it's interesting, but it also has ramifications. Just like with people, you know, it can either be used for good or it can be used for bad, or you know, hopefully for both. They're saying a lot of people are announcing now. Elon Musk told some of the people that were making like Chat GTP to maybe want to slow it down since it's getting a little dangerous, and then the next day he entered into that field. So I'm like, was it a way to get attention for him coming into the field of making it, or was it a true he's a little bit scared of where to go?
Oh, you know, one of the things is that, you know, you play on people's fears and you get popularity from things.
Yeah, you get, I mean, if you play on people's fears, you get, I mean, everybody uses it, and you know, the news uses it. That's how they keep you.
Oh, absolutely. It's how they keep you attached.
To the story.
Well, we shall see. In any regard, we shall see. I know sometimes it's enough to prompt people to go crazy because apparently this young kid in Washington, D.C., he came to Washington, D.C. actually and rented a U-Haul and was wanting to slam into the White House, enter the White House, take over the presidency, take over the nation, and kill anybody that got in his way.
I kind of wonder.
White House Tuesday, police marked the scene of last night's security incident. Social media footage shows the moment a driver tried to ram a rental truck past the barrier at Lafayette Square, about a block from the White House fence.
In this particular case, what was supposed to have happened or been prevented is what occurred.
A U.S. law enforcement official tells CBS News there were no explosives in the vehicle and no weapons, and there were no reported injuries to anybody in the Secret Service or the White House.
The president was indeed briefed. He was briefed this morning. He's relieved that no one was injured last night.
Video of the aftermath appears to show officers collecting evidence, including a Nazi flag. The U.S. Park Police identified the suspect as a 19-year-old U.S. citizen from Chesterfield, Missouri. A law enforcement official tells CBS News the driver flew to D.C. from Missouri Monday, rented the truck at the airport, and drove here to the White House. Multiple law enforcement sources said the suspect appeared to be emotionally disturbed. Among the charges he's facing, assault with a dangerous weapon, reckless operation of a motor vehicle, and threatening to kill, kidnap, inflict harm on a president, vice president, or family member.
Well. And he looked to me when they showed a picture of him on the news, and he looked like he was of Middle Eastern descent.
I didn't see that, but I did see the name was very ethnic in that area.
Yeah, I was like,
and you know,
what a battle plan.
Yeah, not well. I mean, I was thinking, why didn't you just rent a car? Why did you rent a truck and then have nothing in it? I thought like they had explosives. That's where they said, okay, now we know what you're trying to do, but it's completely empty. So I don't know.
I have no idea. I
would say that we've now come to the age in the internet, of which I used to say was a great thing. Now we're coming into the age of social terrorism,
doesn't seem to be what that is.
Social media is playing into people's fears, and then they start to act upon it. I mean, the Pizzagate thing back 2014, 15, 16, somewhere around there, where a guy went into a pizza restaurant in DC thinking there was pedophiles in the basement holding children. So he went in there to try to rescue them. And that was all caused by social media, which specifically, I believe, was QAnon and those 4chan things. But it gets people to believe stuff that, I mean, and I've went down that rabbit hole too myself to see what was going on. And some of it is really scary stuff. Some of it from the outside looking in, you're thinking, how could anybody believe this? But they do.
Oh, well, yeah, I call it extremism. And you can be extreme on the right, you can be extreme on the left.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and
I try to stay in the middle.
I like to be a moderate and be an objective individual who's willing to listen and concede, if necessary, to a better objective than maybe my opinion might be. I don't have a problem with that, but yeah.
It's amazing in just the QAnon alone how much those people believe. And I mean, it's like with any religion, I don't really believe in specific religion, but they believe some things, and you look at it in your perspective and think, how could anybody believe that? But I mean, if you've been, I would say, conditioned or thinking in that way, that's all you see. Republicans and Democrats alike, they only see the Democrat side, they can't see the Republican side. They think they're crazy and vice versa.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. All of a sudden, they're already, the dialogue is going nowhere because of their
we're being more divided by our extreme opinions. We're not seeing the other side of it. And AI is also involved in that because I've determined that AI will feed you if you're on one of these social media sites. If you are leaning to the left or leaning to the right, it starts feeding you more of that stuff.
That's where the news.
And you start believing more of that stuff.
Yep, that's where the news feed comes from. You're exactly 100% correct. And again, that's because they're tracking you. And why are they tracking you? So that they can utilize advertisers and whatever the case may be.
And terrible to say, but I used to think that was a good thing, to have ads that were targeted toward me instead of ads that I don't know why they would even want me to, I used to think that was a good thing, but now it's turned into, I don't even know. I mean, I don't want to say, let's just get rid of the internet and go back to the way it was, because the internet has good things, but more of the bad things are being magnified by events like this, where you're thinking, why do we have something like this? It's causing so much problems.
You look at how many problems that it does cause, especially if you get the wrong individual, tweeting out or whatever, propaganda that is just not substantiated. It's just full of holes. But
I think these days, it used to be people had a cause, but now they're trying to find a cause to have. I was like, I'll be a rebel, but what do you got to rebel against? We definitely do need in this country a lot more mental health provided for a lot of people in this. I have two in-laws that do like medical, and the other one used to do psychiatry, and they have always said that they're just being very underfunded, and it causes a lot more problems. I mean, people start believing stuff that to us is not logically true. To them, it is the gospel.
Yeah, and sometimes I don't understand. let's go to the extreme right in this one here. I want to introduce coming up into Marjorie Taylor Greene coming up next. When you look at the Freedom Caucus, and I believe these are the people that got the Speaker of the House by the short hairs, and that's why he's got to come and check on everything that he can do. It's ridiculous. But anyhow,
I mean, I could put myself in their mindset if that's all I had to base my opinion on, and people believe some outlandish stuff, they believe, but I mean, some of it's also based in reality, but I mean, just like with, fables, they grow from somewhere in reality and they balloon it
right.
Legendary status.
Yeah, it just gets completely out of control, and you're 100% correct. And
I also believe that some of it is orchestrated, because if you can divide the people, well, then you keep them distracted from what you're really doing, what your real agenda is.
You may be right. Check this out.
What are you talking about? Where are the migrant children?
Kids?
You guys
We're accepting them. We love them. We love the migrant children. We lost them.
You can't find them.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah, migrant children missing.
No, we don't know the news. I don't know. That's Fox News. That's Fox News. Listen, I need you to save the party.
Yelling, shouting, raising his voice. He has aggressive, his physical mannerisms are aggressive, and I am concerned about it. I feel threatened by him.
What do you want to say to that? Oh my goodness. I mean, it's so nonsensical that it's comical. You can see clearly in the video that we were like playfully jousting with each other. She was laughing, I was laughing. We were talking about each other's party and certain issues. So the demeanor and the disposition, on the steps, it was playful. We were going after each other. So for her the next morning to say what she said, I mean, it's a complete 180, number one. It's no longer comical now, because now you are using historical racist tropes toward black men, menacing his mannerisms.
Can hear you.
That's the stuff that got Trayvon Martin killed, Tamir Rice killed, Michael Brown killed. I mean, I believe Officer Darren Smith literally talked about his presence and his strength as an excuse for killing him. And this has happened to black men historically. And so now we're in a dangerous space. And that's why I wanted to be really, really clear to reporters today how reckless and dangerous her statements were. And she should know better. I believe she knows better. This is another reason why we need to teach the accurate history of America in our schools and make sure African-American history is a part of that, because her rhetoric and her behavior in Congress outside of me, pictures with the AR-15 with the squad behind her, chasing David Hogg and stalking him as he engaged in activism around gun violence. Her rhetoric, her language, her behavior has been aggressive and intimidating since she's gotten into Congress. Now she's trying to displace it onto me.
That's keeping on 100.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. No problem. Yeah, I mean, yeah. How do you throw that race card? It's the big black guy that's just scaring me, and now, I need what? So you got to ask for Secret Service protection?
It was intimidation for using it. She was intimidated to get more people towards her cause. And that's interesting to put it that way, but I mean, she's the most outspoken of the Republicans right at this moment that are really making a scene.
In that caucus, that Freedom Caucus?
Yeah, but she's also, from what I understand, she is trying to get to the point where she becomes the vice president nominee with Trump. So, more rhetoric gets you more attention on the media.
Hang on a second.
But
hang on a second.
I don't know. I don't understand.
I gotta go throw up. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm back.
I understand it.
I couldn't even imagine that one.
It would be
Marjorie Taylor
I mean,
Greene
the
and Donnie.
first 4 years was something, but with those two in there,
you could have a mass exodus of the United States. You know,
mean,
no, instead of Mexico would be wanting to put up a wall. Keep Canada too.
I think they've been wanting to put up a wall too. They're like, we don't want to deal with you.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's become. I want to say it's become a reality show in itself. America's become a show where everybody's like, what are they doing now? Because in other countries, they're like, why are you all so damn crazy?
Heck, it's insane. It is absolutely insane. And
but the other side of that is also DeSantis too. So I mean, he's trying to. I don't know who's trying to be the worst. I really don't. It's a competition. Lauren Boebert, who is the other one that's outspoken, how she got. Well, I know how she got it. She got elected in there, but she is one of the most unqualified people to be in there. From what I have read. But I mean, it doesn't take very smart people to get elected into Congress. And unfortunately, we're going down that thing where being more sensational and out there is going to get your name out there more than it's going to be campaigning your name in Iowa or, some of the caucuses. So more attention from the media is going to get your name out there. Like, well, I'm going to vote for them. I bet they do a good job.
Yeah, well, Brown's pretty slick, though. I mean, besides, in some ways, he's slick. He tried to be slick when he backdoored Disney, and the Disney and him now are, in the...
they're really putting up... That's a real fight, too.
That's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. But
yeah, I mean, I think... the last I read about them, they had... I hate using this term now, but they had a trump card that they were going to use, and it was going to probably put an end to it. But with any politician... they will find a way around it.
Who knows?
So now they've put, and I think you have this article coming up where they were talking about, expelling people that owned Chinese that owned property around military installation in Florida, of which they say now it should be every one of them.
Right.
And right. I don't know if they want to truly eject them because they think it's a security risk, or if they want to just get their name in the news. I mean, they're doing it.
Well, one thing he did pull, and this is what I was going to lead into, is that he, they used to have the done before you run law, right? If you got to run for president, you have to stop being governor. Let somebody, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he passed a law that he doesn't have to do that now down there. So
really?
Yeah, he covered himself on that one.
It's just like a politician change the rules when they need it for themselves.
Oh, yeah. Whenever it benefits them, then it's time to change the rules.
Yeah.
Isn't that the damn truth?
we have entered. I don't even know where it started. I think it's. I want to say it started in 2016 with Trump starting to run, maybe in 2015. But now it's become no more a 3-ring circus. It's become a 15-ring circus. It's ridiculous.
But DeSantis but some are responding because the NAACP says.
Well, the NAACP
don't go there.
Is cautioning travelers against visiting Florida.
The civil rights organization alleges Florida has become increasingly hostile to Black Americans under the leadership of Ron DeSantis. A spokesperson for the Republican governor is deriding the advisory as a, quote, stunt. But the NAACP claims Governor DeSantis is attempting to erase Black history and restrict diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in Florida schools. This comes after he blocked the introduction of an advanced placement course focusing on African American studies in Florida high schools earlier this year.
Joining us now is Derek Johnson. He's the president and CEO of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the organization more commonly known as the NAACP. Derek, it's great to have you back with us. So it's worth noting that both the League of United Latin American Citizens and LGBTQ+ advocacy group Equality Florida previously issued travel advisories for Florida earlier this year. Tell us what was behind the NAACP's decision to take this action now.
Well, we began to look at the pattern and the comments along with the public policy that Governor DeSantis and the Florida legislative body began to enact. And we recognize that it is a direct attack, not only on the African American community, but the Latino community, on women, on LGBT plus QIA community. And that's a problem. He's using his platform as governor to try to promote otherism or racial hate and division. That should not be the case. And America needs to understand, as he prepared to run for the presidency, we cannot stand as a nation another individual occupying the White House with this type of belief system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you think?
I mean, the fight between both of them just to get the Republican nominee is going to be one hell of a show. Who wins? Who knows?
It'll be
what do we have
interesting.
in store if they actually do take over the White House?
But to sit there and have an organization such as the NAACP, and an organization such as I'm not sure what the Latinos of America, I don't know necessarily, and you already know
Actually,
that
I don't even think the Latinos, from what I understand,
haven't organized.
They've been leaving the country. They've been leaving Florida because of that.
Because of DeSantis.
It's ridiculous.
And obviously the LGBT communities, he's
Yeah.
don't even want you talking about them. Don't say gay. Isn't that what they called this one bill, that don't say gay?
Yeah, like it was termed something else, but I mean that's pretty much what it boiled down to. It's ridiculous.
Who cares?
I would say, when did we become the thought police? Why? But I mean, what it does is it gets their base riled up, just like Trump's done that one. He's done that where he gets people pissed off, about the immigrants, and it got him elected. And then the fact that later on he wanted to get other people elected in the midterms and said the migrant caravans, well, that's the problem now, and then of course they magically disappeared after people were elected. So, I mean, there are political tricks, obviously, and it does not. I would say that this stuff that they use is not taught in political science in college. Even if it touched in it, it's more to theatrics and a life of being an actor.
Right. Look at the
it's
hype.
Not even in the realm of political science.
What was the hype about? What was it? 2 weeks ago when Title 14 expired, whatever it was. And they're like, "Oh my
what
God!"
Was Title 14.
The where they could turn you back and send you back to home country based on the pandemic.
Oh yeah. Okay, I didn't know that was Title 14. I remember that article that came out.
So anyhow, yeah, that came out, that expired, and then they're like, "Oh my God, there's going to be a rush. We're going to have all kinds of immigrants just come," and they hyped it all up. I don't know if you've seen that on the news. Well, it turned out to be squat, really nothing.
Oh yeah, and the wall is another funny thing. If you ever want to go into some of the weird things in this world, YouTube is your porthole to get into it, because of course AI will feed you things that you want to see. So you start seeing more and more. Like I started researching the Republican side of their issues, so it started feeding me more and more of that stuff, and it's a deep rabbit hole. I'm glad to say that I got out of that rabbit hole because it was starting to damage my own sanity.
Oh, well, if you look at it, the originally what the Republicans or whatever you want to call it, or when it first started out, are now Democrats, and then the Jeffersonians, right?
Like the Democrats used to be the people that wanted to bring all the migrants in,
right?
Stuff, but they have flipped.
Yeah, it's interesting.
In what's important to them
over the years,
what their core beliefs are.
So hey, try to keep up with whatever they're thinking.
It's as much. It is as much as a trend, keeping up political science as it is to what decade sitcoms came out. Like what the Family Matters show came out, and everybody was watching Family Matters. Now the entertainment is in political realm of who can do the craziest thing.
It's how do you do a job? Yeah, but how do you find what's popular opinion with these people and still have the funding that's required to even think about running for an office? Because how many millions and millions and millions do they dump into this stuff? It's crazy.
It is, but I mean, I do think that they're finding out
dark money too.
Dumping that money, like dark pools of money, into advertisement on TV and smear campaigns. All you got to do is do something crazy, and the news will pick it up.
There you go, like Donnie.
And that's where the extreme white supremacists starting to come out. I mean, they've always been existent in this country, but now they've gotten to the realm where they don't care who knows it. They're gonna be racist no matter what. Now, I'm not saying that racism is against the law, because it's not, and that's their prerogative, just like we have our own beliefs. But it's one of those things that I wish it wouldn't come out. It's a horrible time that we live in socially, that now we're trotting back to the 50s. All the things we knew in the 50s are now coming back. Trump actually had said he wanted to bring us back to the 50s. I didn't think it would actually happen.
It's hard to take the biases out of people, whether it be, about their race, creed, color, religion, sex, whatever. There's going to be a bias of one type or the other.
Oh, yeah. My parents were that way. They grew up they were the silent era generation, and they grew up in that time, and they were taught a certain thing. I remember my mom, which, God rest her soul, this is what she believed, that black people had the, diseases that we didn't have. And I mean, that's what they were taught.
That's what isn't that interesting? That they were spoon fed that bullshit.
Yeah. And I mean, they had propaganda back in their day too. It just wasn't on TV,
Yep. It was by word of mouth. Sitting in the local church or the local, card party.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just taken on a different form. I mean, it's always been around. It's always been around in some form or the other, but it's never been as widespread as it has in these days because of media and social media and, everybody having a TV right in their pocket,
Oh, yeah.
Now I get annoyed by all the ads that pop up. Sometimes I wonder why they're sending me some of these ads. If it's supposed to be targeted marketing, why are you sending me this stuff? But, it's to the point now that I want to get rid of my phone.
They want to drive you crazy.
Or go back to the dumb phone anyway.
They want to drive you crazy. Speaking of crazy, this shit went down in Orange County, California. I'm not sure exactly what city it was in Orange County, but this is a multi-room rental, and the one roommate apparently had, I don't know what he had going on, but check it out. What a roommate.
Just like a scene from the movie The Shining, a man with an axe chopping away at a door, trying to get to the terrified person on the other side. The person locked inside the room can be heard screaming for help. And then the man with the axe breaks the door in, and what follows is a life and death struggle inside that room.
I can't let you go. I'm sorry.
It all began earlier with a car speeding down this Lake Forest street and crashing. The driver of that car slamming into a home. The crashed car tilted up on two wheels. The driver then seen here on the surveillance camera running back in the direction he came from. Another security camera captures him at the front door of the home where he rents a room. He can't get in, so he starts slamming his shoulder into the door, eventually smashing his way inside.
What the hell?
Moments later, he's seen on another camera with the axe in his hands, chopping at the door of one of his housemates. Eyewitnesses say the man had earlier terrorized a number of people out on the street.
We were inside working, and a gardener came up to the door. He was panicking and said somebody was chasing him with an axe.
We came outside and we heard yelling at the house. It sounded like somebody's being tortured.
I asked him, calm down, please. What happened? What happened? You know, he never answered. You know, just chase me. He's going to kill me. Yeah, he's going to kill me.
There was some terrible yelling and screaming, and the police went in. They pulled out their weapons, and we heard like 5 gunshots, and apparently I guess what they used were non-lethal type ammunition. When they brought the suspect out, he was pretty bloody.
Orange County Sheriff's deputies do confirm they used less than lethal rounds to subdue and then take that man with the axe into custody. They tell us he appeared to be under the influence of something. He was taken to the hospital for treatment of some injuries he suffered in the earlier car crash. Then he was booked into jail.
Like, no shit. He's under the influence of something.
I can't. I mean, the only thing I've ever seen anybody that is that crazy doing is from the 70s when the angel dust and PCP was really a popular thing.
And he went
off
the deep end, didn't he?
Wow.
Yeah, but that's the same type of guy that could probably, had this incident not been caught on tape, could go down and get himself an AR-15.
Oh yeah.
Would know what would happen.
I never.
Because that would be perfectly legal, probably, from what we. Doesn't look like you had any type of.
In California, it's pretty restricted, but I mean, you can go over to, let's say, kind of the East Coast is kind of democratic, so I bet they have regulations. But you do know that a lot of the guns that are flowing, the guns that get into people, you know, they say it's happening to Democrat, but most of the guns are being bought from red states, and then they're flowing into other states, you know, so because of the lax gun laws.
Well, now, why not? Yeah, you're creating a black market.
Yeah, I'm not saying we should ban guns, but we need some more heavier regulations on people that can get them. I mean, they're going to say,
like that kind of guy, right? Like this kind of guy who was just freaking watching. You're like,
now you're trying to control who has guns, and I'm like, I wouldn't want a person like that to have one.
Oh,
you know,
any type of gun, really, with him, especially not an
even the axe. I mean, that guy's pretty damn big, and if he you know, he broke in, I was wondering if he was like going to kill that guy with a pickaxe, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was good that they, and you know what I have to sit there and say is in regards to the Cali cops that took his ass down with the non-lethal weapon. You know, apparently they beanbagged him.
Yeah, my first thought would be like, you got to kill him because he's going crazy.
Yeah, well, at least they beanbagged him. I mean, which is better than, you know, hey,
well, yeah,
some of these incidents that happen.
My first reaction, if I was a police officer, I would want, you know, because I would imagine he would be coming after the police too.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have restraint. They're probably restrained for all that stuff to happen, but whew, I'm glad I'm not a police officer. That's all I can say. I mean, I'm glad the people that do it, and I have a lot of friends that are police officers, and they are put in situations where you make split-second decisions, you know, like which weapon are you going to grab to subdue or kill this individual? You know, people say it's a lot. I think, and I do believe that, you know, more guns in this country are not the answer. I bet you could wallpaper a room in each house with the amount of guns that flow into one county. And it's become more of a fashion choice than anything, you know. I need this gun because, I mean, you know, I understand the whole people wanting to collect guns. I collect synthesizers, but they're not lethal.
Yeah, so, but, you know, a lot of people say, well, I have the right to bear arms because it's in the...
That's true.
It's true, but read the rest of the line. The right to bear arms in order to maintain a well-armed militia.
Right. Now,
you're talking about National Guardsmen, these type of things, so that you're on the ready just in case. Not intended so everybody has 2 or 3 AR-15s in their frickin' closet.
Right. I don't agree that average citizens should be allowed to have assault rifles. I mean, I was in the military and had an assault rifle, and even then, it's a very large responsibility. But I mean, you know, in countries where they don't have gun laws like we do, people have been killed with knives. I mean, I guess it goes back to the other, like, why are they doing this? What has it happened from the last, say, 100 years, where it would happen every now and then, people get heated and they have a gun in their possession or near them. Some people are going to take that, split-second decision to say, I'm going to kill this person and that's going to end my problem.
Yeah, just like this obvious guy who was on, let's say, PCP, or he was on Angel Dust. Who knows what the hell he was on?
Definitely on something.
Yeah, he was definitely lit up tough. You definitely didn't want any kind of weapon around him whatsoever. And
even a pickaxe to that guy, he was pretty big. If that guy wouldn't have had a door between him and that, he'd have been dead.
Yeah, hopefully beating the hell out of the door tuckered him out.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think, because mostly interior doors are pretty hollow doors. You can get through them by kicking them.
Right.
Using a pickaxe. So I'm like, whoever made that door did a good job.
Oh, that was an interior apartment door, though. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I think, I guess mine's pretty sturdy. So it's not a hollow one. Those are the ones that are interior, but
right. The interiors are like garbage. It's the exterior that at least should have some type of reinforcement.
Right. Yeah.
Anyhow, hey, you know what? Towards the end of the show, we always have what we call a hassle of the week, but occasionally we have some really good things that come along, and I would categorize this in you've watched the television show What Would You Do?
Mm-hmm.
So if you've seen this happening, what would you do?
Rushing into action to save a CHP officer. Viral video showing a Good Samaritan running in to help, now part of a CHP investigation. Thanks again for joining us here on ABC 7 Hulu and wherever you stream. I'm David Ono.
And I'm Ellen Lavo. Today we're hearing from the man in that video about why he felt compelled to help.
And now News reporter Christian Cordero shares his story and the dramatic video.
Everardo Navarro was on his way to an event in Orange County on Friday when a confrontation between a man and a CHP officer
I was just assuming the officer was making an arrest in that moment.
Escalated. This video is part of the police investigation. The CHP says an officer was walking back to his patrol vehicle after giving the man a verbal warning for bending freeway signs on an on-ramp. Navarro saw the two fighting with the officer in a headlock, so he pulled over and without thinking, ran to help.
When I actually get there, for a split second, I didn't know what to do. I just punched the guy in the ribs.
It didn't work. Worried the officer would lose control of his weapon, Navarro focused on freeing the headlock, and he did. It wasn't until later that he realized all of the different ways that day could have gone wrong.
I was not able to take it out of my mind.
You have kids.
I was going to a place, and all I can think is my kids.
He hasn't quite figured out why he had that instinct, but the CHP is sure glad he did.
It's not very often that you see something like that. Usually it's people just recording and standing by. But I just want to thank those 3 Good Samaritans for helping out our officer.
Navarro is thankful too.
I jumped out of my car because of him, but at the end I was thankful that everybody was okay, including the suspect.
Mm-hmm. Now, what would you do? Would you jump in if you see the cop getting his ass whipped?
I honestly have a superhero complex for some odd reason, where I wanted, to be the hero in situations, but I don't even know. I mean, most of the people you see now don't help, but they hit the record for YouTube, which is terrible. Like, let me film it first, and then hopefully somebody else will help. I think about this all the time when I'm driving truck. If there was an accident, to happen, would I stop the truck and help that person out? I mean, I think my instinct would kick in. I would, but probably somewhere in the middle of you, like, that was a stupid move.
You got to do the right thing.
It comes out.
Yeah, you do the right thing. That is.
I think people still have it in them to do it. And obviously this video displays that.
I was brought up to do unto others as you would have them do unto you, not necessarily out of the biblical sense, but just because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
You know,
And
treat others
hopefully
like you'd
that's
like to be
still-
treated. It's a
yeah,
simple little
hopefully
rule.
that still is at least over half of the society in this world. I would think that most people would, but most people are also afraid to do it. People that are trained, like it goes back to the gun law too. You know, like, wouldn't you want to have somebody with a gun there? And I'm like, would that add to the problem, or would that make it any better? And you know, I don't know. I mean, if people had guns readily available, like in pocket or holstered, would they be able to help the situation, or would it make it even worse? I mean, having a good Samaritan there to do something like this is it makes you feel good inside. So he definitely gets superstar of the week.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. And actually, our let's watch the who got asshole of the week. And in actuality, we have been talking about it the entire show, and they seem to have a gun and teen issue in Memphis. And check it out.
But in the middle of an interview regarding the area's teen curfew enforcement, they nearly became a crime statistic themselves.
My name is Yolanda, Yolanda.
Oh my God.
Get down, just get down, get down. Just stay down and get down. That's okay. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Just stay down and get down. Now they're coming back.
Okay.
You okay, Jay? Thank you, Lord, for the blood of Jesus that covers us. Thank you, Father, for the blood of Jesus. Thank you, Lord. All right, we should be all right. Okay. Drive by. Yep. You saw it, the black car.
There we go. There's our assholes. Can you believe that they're on this? They're there talking about the guns and the drive-by and what the hell happens. Drive-by.
Yeah. I live right in, right by, sometimes I hear gunfire in this area, and I'm thankful that I live up on the 15th floor. So at least, but it gives everybody when sees this, like social anxiety. Would that happen to me? What would I do?
They have that in downtown. I didn't think they had that right downtown. I could think going over onto the east side, maybe.
Well, it does happen in this area, like over at the Greenbelt Apartments. There's some gunfire that goes on there sometimes.
Oh, really?
There are a lot of gangs in this entire area. I've never actually seen any gang activity. I'm usually either gone or up in my apartment and stuff like that. But I also live right down in downtown where they have the police station right over there. So, I mean, I hear sirens go off all the time. Hopefully most of it is nothing like that. But I mean, I've seen a lot of situations where cops have blocked off, streets and stuff. And in fact, I was just going to Walmart the other day or today, and there was a police situation where they had the firefighter around. I'm not even sure what was going on, if they called it for a fire or if they called it for violence, or, I don't know. It does happen a lot, and you're just thankful that it's not you to do. And I mean, thanking God to make you feel better is a great thing to be able to do. But I mean, we're now living in a world where it's so commonplace. I mean, we're even teaching our kids, and this is a sad thing. It is a really sad thing that kids in school now have to do. They have to do the active shooter drills,
right? Which
is horrible. I mean, I remember doing the tornado drills,
hide under your
and
desk,
stuff, and yeah, and
what the hell sense did that ever make? What is that little? But whatever, yeah, hide under your desk, kids.
Yeah, I mean, and then now they're doing like active shooter drills, and I mean, I remember doing it in, like when I worked in a factory, we had a couple times, but I don't think any of it took it seriously like it could happen. Well, then I found out one of those factories actually had that happen a couple weeks back. And, I mean, it does prepare you, but like, what do you do when it's an actual active shooter?
If there's an active shooter drill, I can understand that, because somebody's coming in and you want to be able to barricade yourself and at least stay out of view, out of line of fire.
Yeah. And I mean, us as adults, it is a thing that we have to deal with, but the fact that now first and second graders have to deal with that stuff.
It's
and
sad.
And it's horrible that it happens, and I have no answers of how to stop it. You know, and now they're giving kids backpacks lined with bulletproof material, you know, for a little bit of an edge so they can maybe survive, you know, one of these. And it's become so commonplace now. Yeah, we haven't had one in a week, but I'm expecting one.
Yeah, that's interesting, dude. But you're right. Yeah, they've got the Kevlar backpacks where the back of it's, but the front of it's clear so that you can. They make sure you don't have any weapons, knives in your backpack. You just have
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you know, and plus you got to go through this metal detector, right?
Yeah, I didn't have
They call
any
it
children,
school.
but I cannot relate to what they have to deal with, you know. And my ex-wife is a school teacher, 2nd grade, and she had when we were married, she once sent me a text where she said there was an active shooter, or they thought there was an active shooter in the building. And I mean, it's like an elementary school, and I was terrified for her, but also what could have happened, you know, at that situation. And it's just, it's become commonplace, like
shootings,
like a tornado.
Oh, I think we have them here in Toledo about every day, don't we? I mean, seriously, every day.
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe every day.
It's become a scary world. I mean, and I'm not really one for saying I need guns, but even I've thought about it, like maybe I need to get a personal firearm just for protection, you know. And I don't. That's how you've gotten in this world, you know. I think I might feel better if I had like a concealed carry weapon and stuff like that.
Don't need a permit anymore.
Yeah, I still
get
don't want to
get yourself a little 380 and keep it with you. You never know.
Yeah, I would rather have a taser, I guess, you know, something that's non-lethal, because I don't know what I would do in that situation. Would I pull it out? Would it misfire? You know, would I be able to stop the situation? Would it make it worse? You know, well, no. It's a grave thought that now has become commonplace in this world.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Man, I guess you could probably get away with some stand your ground garbage with the taser.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I live myself, even if it was for self-defense, if I killed somebody with a gun. I don't know how that would affect me. And I mean, that goes into the whole mental health thing too, you know. Now, you as a survivor of a gun shooting, now you have to go through this training and stuff like that to help you cope with the deal.
The PTSD.
That you just went through. Yeah. I have friends that have that too, you know, and that's from being in the military and in Afghanistan and stuff like that. But
no, I mean, anytime you witness death, you know, and you're into that situation, yeah, you got, you know, somebody getting killed, and it takes a little to get past it.
Well, you know, I mean, video games and movies have it depicted a lot, and I am one that enjoys both of those. But in reality, I don't know how I would react. I know I would be pretty freaked out by it. So having a gun on me, I don't think it's going to make me feel any better.
It isn't going to help at all, is it?
A better target, you know.
Anyhow, hey, you know, let's do it like we usually do it here on this show, Don, and you can tell people how they can follow you. They can follow you on social media.
Well, you
know, the different ways to get a hold of yourself.
Be looking around. You want to hear some instrumental music, electronic music, something that's different from what you're normally hearing. You can go to phantomfrost.com, phantomfrost.net. You can find Phantom Frost with an F. I might say it's FANTOMFORST. Sounds just like the Mickey Mouse glove symbol. But you can go there. You can look it up and you can find some music. I'm about to release an album. I'm going to be working on it in the next couple of days. And I hope to have it out beginning of June somewhere.
Cool. Well, fantastic. You can follow me, Tim McGiffin, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I am simply Googleable. And if you'd like to catch all the shows that I'm involved in, go ahead and go to YouTube, type in The Queen Silver Show. You'll get the results of all three of the shows that I'm on, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday shows, as well as some other projects that I'm in, movies, little short films, cartoons, that kind of BS. But it's a lot of fun, and while you're there, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you. But anyhow, hey, we appreciate you spending some time with us on this Wednesday, and it's 8 p.m. here in the East, and let's be 7 p.m. in the Central Time. So to all you there guys, hey, enjoy your evening. Hey, we certainly really appreciate y'all spending time with us. Until next week, see ya.